tips. You need not answer every question or address every principle of art in your analysis. What is important is that you are able to address the most striking ones in the artwork in question, whether positive or negative. So here, example number 2, sample analysis. The painting is able to achieve a symmetrical balance with its separation of the mountains. There are more mountains and cliff sides on the part of the painting. That does not contain the moon. The painter is also careful in spacing out the use of dark colors and white, so that none becomes too repetitive or too big. The use of the mostly black and white also creates enough variety in the landscape of the mountains. There is enough emphasis on the night by contrasting his black silhouette heavily in the white mist. However, the emphasis on the night dwindles because the same contrast can be seen in other parts of the painting. So the short example is able to address the primary elements used in painting. So they use the dark colors, yung mga color na ginamit niya, particularly the mountains and the night at the center. So describe din niya. Then always remember that when giving a critic, it is best to give both positive and negative comments. So when you give a critic, you must say kung positive or negative, pero dapat equal silang dua. Ideally, not give the positives first before moving on the negatives or sandwich the negatives between positives. So pwede ka una sa positive na pwede ka maghatag positive una or bago negative. Tapos pagkaman pwede na po negative before then positive. So interpretation. Now think about the message or goal of the artwork is through its elements and use of the principles of art. Some question you can answer are: how does the artwork make you feel? Is the artwork successful or not? Does the artwork seem original or not? Would you recommend this artwork viewing this target audience? What comes to mind? Interpretation. Now think about the message or goal of the artwork through its elements and use of the principle of art. Some question you can answer are: what comes to your mind when you look at the artwork? What emotions do you think that the artwork wants to evoke? What do you think that does the creator want to say through the artwork? So interpretation means unsay nilalaman niya, ginalaman or unsay yang message sa artwork. Then judgment, finally, express your overall opinions on the artwork. So in judgment, kailangan jud nimo opinion tanan jud na unsay imong opinion sa artwork. So mo siya ang questions to formulate your opinion. So how does the artwork make you feel? Is the artwork successful or not? Does the artwork seem original or not? Would you recommend this artwork viewing your target audience?
Writing a critic paper. Tips: feel free to discuss other aspects of the event. You are not limited to the listen question, for example. You can also discuss your reason for attending the event. Evaluation. After the description, you can begin your evaluation of the event. This is where your brainstorming early becomes. So you can organize the section in two ways. One way is to continue the description section by first describing the aspect you plan to critique. For example, you can summarize the speaker talk, then discuss what happened at the Q&A, and finally talk about the workshop after. The description can be followed by the assessment of this part of the event. Another way is to have the description and the assessment alternate. Start with the speaker talk both the description and its assessment, and then move on the Q&A season and so on. Evaluation. Overall overview of what you listen during the brainstorming part. Ibutang ang inyong goal tapos inyong i-discuss kung unsay yung nahitabo, then afterwards unsay nasabtan ninyo if it intentional or fruitful. In your evaluation, answer the question you came up with in brainstorming season. Some sample are: was the speaker effective in delivering their intended message? How were they effective? Was the Q&A season fruitful? How well was the speaker able to answer audience speaker questions? Was the workshop helpful? Were the participants able to learn a lot from the speaker and the organizers? Refreshment. Were they delicious? Were they served on time? How was the serve? If there were no refreshment but you feel there should have been addressed this as well. Description. Much like the summary for writing text or description for visual artwork, you must also describe the event first so that readers who are familiar with the event or the organization are more informed here. A few questions that should be answered in the description of the event. What is the title of event? Who are its organizers? When and where was it held? What is purpose of the event? What is going to happen in the event? Description. Detailed information kay kailangan i-apil para kabalo ang audience leaders ang about sa event. Yung ginaisgutan, it includes the date, time, and place formatting of the documentation. Example number 1. For the purpose of the example, we will use a fictional event. Sample description. The event we attend last Monday, April 27, 2020, at the event room of Fully Book High Street was called Writing Yesterday Meets Today. It was organized by the Scholastics Association in collaboration with Fully Book. The event began with a talk by Edgar Tan, a famous novelist and comic book writer in Philippines, followed by a Q&A season and then a workshop for explanation. The sample description is able to introduce the title and date of the event along with the organizers and the itinerary. It is simple and does not go into detail yet. Example number 2. Sample analyze. The painting is able to achieve a symmetrical balance with its separation of the mountains. There are more mountains and cliff side on the part of the painting that does not contain the moon. The painter is also careful in spacing out the use of dark colors and white, so that none becomes too repetitive or too big. The use of mostly black and white also creates enough variety in the landscape of the mountains. There is enough emphasis on the night by the contrasting his black silhouette heavily on the white mist. However, the emphasis on the night dwindles because the same contrast can be seen in other parts of the painting. Explanation. The short sample is able to address the primary elements used in the painting, particularly the mountains and the night at the center. Always remember that when giving a critic, it is best to give both positive and negative comments. Ideally, give the positive first before moving on the negative, or sandwich the negatives between the positive. Interpretation. Now think about what the message or goal of the artwork is through its elements in use of the principle of art. Some questions you can answer are: what comes to mind when you look at the artwork? What emotion do you think that artist wants to evoke? What do you think does the creator want to say through the artwork? In this phase, ang interpretation kay need na to, or let's say required jud o deeper meaning for us to be able to understand this message, kay ang goal sa author and writer is para ma-execute og tarong kung unsay buot niya ipasabot sa ato ang mga readers. Sa judgment, finally express your overall opinions on the artwork. Here are some questions you can use to formulate your opinion. How does the artwork make you feel? It's the work successful or not? Does the artwork seem original or not? Will recommend this artwork for viewing to your target audience. Sa judgment, how it becomes more relatable to us. Kung unsa ka impactful ang stories ato, kinahanglan sad na may balaan nato ang opinion nato. Mag-survey tas if recommendable ba siya or dili. Sample number 3. Sample interpretation and judgment. Overall, the work evokes a sense of mystery and adventure in me. It draws me toward the night because the composition of the artwork shows that he is important, perhaps on a quest of some sort, and I am curious to know what is it. It seems the artist wants to evoke a sense of depth and gravitas in the painting, and I think he is successful in doing so through his use of white and dark colors to show contrast and variety. The artwork is the type that could fit the cover of any fantasy novel. Similar types of paintings have been done before, yet it is aesthetically pleasing and effective in achieving its purpose. Explanation. That the short sample combines both the interpretation and the judgment in one paragraph. It describes the feeling evoked by the painting and gives opinions and a final evaluation of the painting. Remember, these same techniques can be applied to other forms of visual art like photograph, drawings, and videos. Critiquing an event of program. Organization hold event or programs for many reasons like for fundraising, advertising, or gathering their members. Some organization event hold annual events. These organizations are often reliant on a critic or critics of their events, as the feedback can help them make improvements when they hold the event again next year. Again, critiquing an event requires you to look at different aspects compared to written work or visual works, but the structure can be quite simple. Ang pagplano ng isang kaganapan ay maaaring maging napapakipakinabang sa maraming mga paraan. Ito ay kung saan maaari mong maayos na ayusin sa kung ano ang gagawin at kung saan maaari mong matugunan. Ang madla, maaari mo ring magamit ang discarding ito sa hinaharap. Then sa brainstorming. Before the event, brainstorm and prepare a list of things you wish to evaluate from that event. Determine what aspects of the event are important and would most likely need feedback. For example, if the event highlights that a speaker were they effective in delivering the intended message while keeping the audience interested, was the audience comfortable with the seating arrangement, were refreshments served, if so were they satisfactory, if not should there have been refreshment, was the venue conducive to the event. There are many other factors that can be considered, but these are examples of what are usually taken into consideration when critiquing an event of program. The brainstorming is to evaluate or to give feedback from the story list down of the ideas that you come up with. Any follow-up description that are important and needs to be highlighted.